Everybody that I'm friends with know at least one or two Drake fans. And at some point, I think we need to do some wellness checks on our friends out there because a lot of them have been crashing out. We got one here, a video from Marcus at Work Media. Yeah, I need to go over there, check out the video without me talking. I like to talk. I like the conversation. But yeah, I really need to go in and check on them because a lot of them, they've been crashing out, and let's get right in here, check it out. Welcome back to the Cove. I appreciate you coming through. Love the comments, love the likes, share the video. Want to help the channel, hit the Cash App. I appreciate it. Let's get back to this. So
welcome back to Marcus at Work Media. So let's do a temperature check, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's check in on our Drake fans and see how they're doing after the Super Bowl performance, after that pile of trash they consider an album, Sexy Songs for You, lackluster review, and after the boy decided to cancel the rest of his tour. Let's see how they're doing. Are they doing all right? Do they need a mental health break? I don't know. Let's check it.
If you think that album was bad, I genuinely think something's wrong with you. I genuinely think you're a fucking hater. I don't even care if you're a Kendrick fan or not. You cannot tell me there's not at least 5 songs on that you like. You can't tell me it's not.
Out of 21 songs and 5 are good, what do you call that?
I don't even get.
If it's 21 on there, should be at least one great one or one that's just immaculate.
I don't give you the biggest Kendrick Lamar. I don't give a fuck about none of that. You can't tell me this album ain't solid. This shit went #1 in 7 hours, gang. 7 hours, gang.
On what platform, sir? What platform?
From 12 in the morning, from 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. Come on, stop playing, bro. Stop playing. But he's backballed. But he had the same. Drake won't come back from this shit. Come on now. Classic.
Now, according to Drake stands, I'm being too harsh on the P&D and Drake project, and I got it all wrong. So they're going to try to convince me and bring up some good examples and reasoning why I'm wrong. Let's hear it.
I'm tired of the dick ride. I don't give a fuck if you're a Kendrick fan or not. Nobody wants to hear Squabble Up. Nobody wants to hear that.
That's why Squabble Up went #1, isn't it? Yo, you cannot make this stuff up.
Nigga just dropped a classic, man. Like, come on, my nigga. Like, stop playing with him, bro. Stop playing with Aubrey. When it comes down to the music, give it some time. The music will always win. All this chatting.
So let me ask you a question. You want us to give Drake some sexy whatever songs for you time to grow on us, but you listen to Squabble Up once and you say, oh, I hate that record, or I hate that song. But we need to give him time when we hear some shitty songs for you, right? That's what you're saying? Listen to your ideology, brother. Doesn't make sense, does it?
It ain't gonna fly for too long.
It ain't.
When it comes to putting on the actual work again in the field, nigga, the music wins every time. Stop playing with Aubrey like that, man. And shout out Party for holding his own.
Party? You want to talk about Party? How about a Party collaboration album where there's not enough Party on the album? How long Party been with Drake? And he can't get a real collaboration where you're actually sitting down and banging out like 10, 12 good songs together? You can't do that for an artist that been with you that long? Come on, bro. There ain't enough Party on that album for nobody. I don't care what you say.
Thought none of that convinced me otherwise, and it feels just like nonstop Drake glazing, to be quite honest. Some people say to Give Me a Hug is one of the better songs, which if your best song or one of the best songs on the album is Give Me a Hug, Whacked Out Mural, Give Me a Hug.
And then Party is not even on Give Me a Hug. So where's the collab? What are we talking about?
Do I gotta
what's the other one? Nokia. Is Party on Nokia? I don't think so. So what are we talking about? Where's the collab?
Say it. I'm good
now,
over here.
All the junk they talking, Squabble Up actually went to #1 on the Billboard. None of these songs have made it to number one. They got all blocked by the GNX album, which came out 16 weeks ago. So you sitting there telling me that this album the album peaked at number one, but the songs never made it to number one. You know, when you do the calculations, however, and it actually fell off this week on the 6th of March. It fell off. But that's what you're saying. Listen, y'all could try to swing it any way y'all want to. The numbers don't lie. And if the numbers lie, Drake will be winning in court. So don't give me that jibber jabber.
Here, man. I'm good on the dot side. Now, this next person wants to make a distinction between Drake music lovers, those that still appreciate the art form and can bob to some K-Dot stuff as well, and those extreme Drake stans. Even in the Drake world, they like to differentiate each other between the major super Drake cult guys and the regular middle of the aisle type of Drake consumer.
I want to start this off by saying I'm a fan of Drake's music. No problem saying that. No problem admitting that I enjoy the man's music. But the thing about the super Drake fans, like the fans who are like actually a fan of the man and who get up in arms if you don't with Drake, or if like you think Kendrick won, or even if you're more of a Kendrick fan than a Drake fan, they carry themselves in a way that if one of their friends said Drake, they stop being friends with him. That's just like the energy they get off. Like they really believe like Drake is their partner or something, or like they really, you know how like a lot of artists you have experiences that you went through on your own, but they're sharing something through their art to where it's like, I feel you because I've been in that same situation. Like we grew up not in the same place, but there were similar things to where like, oh, you went through this where you're from, I went through a similar situation where I'm from. That's normal. But super Drake fans be feeling like, no, like I grew up with Drake. Like, no, Drake's my friend. And if like, like if a Drake song came on and they partner was in the room, they just like, man, that nigga Drake. They be like, who? Like I said, there's nothing wrong with liking Drake. I just wish they would shake that energy off, you know?
So at least
It's crazy because true Drake fans, the first thing they say to you is, why are you always hating on Drake? Everybody always hating on Drake. But they never actually listen and understand why you tell them you don't dislike him. You always says, oh man, you just like everybody else. But listen, man, he ain't never give us nothing to believe in. You're the only one believing in him. And listen, I used to be a huge Drake fan. I've almost gotten into numerous fights over Drake when he first came out. After all even like right before the Pusha T stuff. You know, I was a huge Drake fan. But as the time went on, I grew out of his music. I became grown. I had kids, and I moved up. He stayed in the same place. And then you don't see any growth in his art form. I don't even see how you guys see it as an art form anymore, because we heard that like 6 albums ago, you know. And then you go into the beef with the same. I mean, it was a little different in the beef, but it was the same Drake we got. That's what made him so repetitive. And it was like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, you talk about, you know, let me get back to it.
This guy, I can have a decent and somewhat normal conversation. He likes some Dot. He still likes some Drake. Okay, I can get it. I mean, everybody then chose their side. We chose our side. They chose their side. We get it. But if you can have a neutral stance, you can appreciate music as it is. I can have a reasonable, logical conversation with an individual like this, unlike the next person.
I just want to say this about the Drake album. People are not going to be satisfied. Regardless if this man put out music because he was going to put it out prior to the beef, or just simply wanted to collab with Party Next Door, or...
Look, I didn't mean to stop her, but if Drake had put this out before the beef, I think this album would have done a whole lot better. This album would have done a whole lot better. And I think he killed Party for doing what he did, because Party got held up in the beef. No reason. Now, what she's saying, to me, it makes sense a little bit, But at the end of the day, a lot of people out here act like people aren't listening to music. Like, you could always say, nah, I don't like Drake, but that's a tough song. Family Matters was a tough song, but there's a whole verse in there that shouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole verse in there that shouldn't be there. You take that verse out, it's a different song. Like, what are we talking about? But let me hear let her I haven't watched this video yet. I'm looking at it the first time with y'all. I like the raw reaction, so I don't know what her comment's going to be. She seemed like she's a Drake fan, so let me let her finish.
People are not going to be satisfied. Regardless if this man put out music because he was going to put it out prior to the beef or just simply wanted to collab with Party Next Door, or if he's trying to somehow redeem himself, whatever it is, y'all are not going to be satisfied. Like, y'all are never going to be satisfied, because from now on, it's always going to be a Kendrick versus Drake. And at the end of the day, streams don't lie. History does not lie. Drake is the bigger artist.
This person is still saying Drake
was the bigger artist. And it all depends on how you look at it. Because at the end of the day, Drake didn't go into an international battle. He went to a rap battle and got murdered. Now think about that. We got an artist that's international that can sing as well as pop. And he got into a rap battle and it killed his entire career. Rapping, singing, yodeling, doiling, whatever the hell he was doing. He got neutralized. But he was always the person that could do more than one thing other than rapping. Well, what are we doing? He's neutralized. He is neutralized.
Drake is still the bigger artist, regardless of having more Grammys, regardless of packing out.
I know that's crazy, right? Drake got 5 Grammys, Kendrick got 22, but Drake's the bigger artist. You know, it's funny how they pick and choose the words they use, because I remember academics saying that Drake was the underdog. Drake's the underdog, but yet he's the biggest artist. What are we talking about?
Stadiums, and he's canceling the little dates he's doing, Burley Arenas down in Australia. Regardless,
don't forget New Zealand. He turned his entire back on them people down under. They
surpassing Drake's Spotify monthly listeners. Aside from all of that, Drake is still the bigger artist somehow. Okay. Starting out bad already, but let's hear it.
So
the thing is with Kendrick that I always say is, when you going and running a marathon, right? A lot of people, they speed up fast and they get halfway through and then they get tired. But there's a person coming from the back that's been keeping pace the whole time. And his job is to pace it out so he finishes under 30 minutes. When you're in a pace to hit 34 because you about to get winded because you're moving too fast early. Kendrick is moving late. And when he catches up, which I think he already did, he's gonna fly by K-Dot when it comes to streaming numbers. He's gonna fly by him when it comes to record sales, because his back catalog has more value than Drake's back catalog. And anybody prove it down in the comments, let me know.
It's like, yes, he got the 5 Grammys. Yeah, congratulations. He performed at the Super Bowl. Congratulations. Did Drake lose? Probably so. Like, and I'm not afraid to admit that if he lost the beef, but y'all aren't going to be satisfied. Y'all are going to purposely skip his music, say that it was lame, so y'all can compare it against what Kendrick already put out. And he's just never going to win. He's never going to win. So it's like, whatever, y'all.
Now, what she just said is like, people like this, you know, it makes me, well, actually gives me content to talk about. But my thing is, if you're going to pause something to go in a beef, knowing you have projects that's supposed to drop, dude, you've been stringing parties since like 2013, bro. And he's now getting an album in 2025 after you get smashed in a beef by another rapper. You get smashed and then you release a party album? Come on, bro. There's no way that should have happened. So when we look at things like this, and it's like, bro, that's not how you move. His next album after what happened should be a solo album. A solo album with him to get back on track. It's not about hating. It's about making the moves. He's making all the moves Kendrick told him to make in the battle. That's what we mean when we say, what is he doing? All the stuff he talked about in Scorpion and all this stuff about being this big G and being this guy that's running, got signs, and he's flicking all this, and then he comes back to the studio and everything Kendrick mentioned in this beef, he's doing it. He ain't rapping no more. He's singing. He makes sure he put that album in the R&B category. What are you talking about?
Before the Super Bowl, before this past year, I would have kind of understand this person's perspective. But after the Super Bowl, after the phenomenal year, on into the Grand National Tour, surpassing the Spotify numbers, surpassing tremendously the amount of Grammys, Pulitzer Prize. I mean, I need a whole video just to acknowledge all Kendrick's accomplishments and stats compared to Drake. So I disagree at this point. That type of person can't be rationalized with. They can't understand anything different than their current standpoint. Now, this next woman, I can kind of get where she's coming from, because she's like, listen, we were doing okay as a Drake fan. I mean, he's been taking a few L's, more than a few in my opinion. And, you know, it's been rough for the boy. But I was still rocking with him. At least we're starting out with some agreement. Okay, cool.
Moment of transparency from a Drake fan. Okay, as you guys know, my boy has been getting taken down left and right this year. For the most part, the Drake fans, we've been keeping it kind of cool. You know, our boy hasn't, but we've been keeping it kind of cool. Okay, until for me, the other day, I'm out on my patio gardening or whatever, and I hear like 2 cars passing by, each of them jamming Kendrick Lamar when my boy just dropped. I immediately wanted to fly into a light-skinned rage or some shit, like call in and call the cops and just be like, for disturbing the peace or some shit, because
now, if you can't tell me this isn't hate, I don't know what is. Because, you know, when I hear a Drake song playing or something, and you don't hear, I don't hear it much in my vicinity. But I just took a trip back to my country in Trinidad and Tobago, and there was a lot of Drake being played by different places, different DJs and stuff. They play Drake still down there, the old stuff, but they still play it. But when I hear it, I'm like, But I don't say, oh, they need to be thrown in jail. Like, what? What are we talking about? This is hate.
Call in and call the cops and just be like, for disturbing the peace or some shit. Because what?
If you're with this woman, you should probably look at other. You should probably be safe, you know.
And then from there, she goes, well, I did have a spaz out moment when people was bumping Not Like Us in the car, and I heard it, and it kind of made me feel some kind of way. Now, this next person feels like Drake giving away money at the concert was a good idea.
Yo, to be honest with you, that's when you become like a super fan, and no matter what they do, they can't do wrong. Anything they do, you love it. You know, there was a lot of Michael Jackson fans like that. I'm a huge Michael Jackson. I'm still a huge Michael Jackson fan, where you can't tell them nothing wrong about MJ. They were ready to fight you. They were ready to squabble up. And that's how a lot of these fans are. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, that's what a fan is, a super fan, whatever you want to call them. And if they feel a certain way about a person, who am I to judge and say they shouldn't? But don't try to push it on anybody else. Whatever you are, I'm okay with it. Just stay in your side of the room. I stay in my side of the room. When we're on the highway, you got that lane, I got this lane. Mind your business, stay in your car, drink your water, and stay out of it, right?
I did. That was a good Drake move. And he appreciates that. He feels like that's Drake giving back. That's Drake showing love to the people that show love to him to help him build his career.
I just want to let everybody know while we all singing along on that halftime show, you know what I'm saying, to turn his TV off and not like us. Let's just remember at the end of the day, you could never make me hate Drake. Ever. Ever. I don't care, bro. I don't care. I'm going to be singing along and I'm still never going to hate Drake because let me tell you, Drake is doing something that all the other artists, including Kenny, hey, man, I'm just saying, including him, I ain't never seen another motherfucking artist give out bands to they fans. Drake just had a concert and gave out 25 or 20 bands a piece to 2 different fans that had it. Oh my, what? You ain't never.
I'm not gonna comment till he says something. I haven't seen this, but I'm gonna let it play.
I heard a different celebrity do that shit ever. Drake done did it multiple times, bro. He gave out bands multiple times. He done changed lives multiple times, bro. At the end of the day, we will never hate this. He make good music and he treat his fans well.
Now, me personally, I don't view it that way. I look at that as him trying to buy affection, buy support, and trying to gain back some of the fans and favor he's lost from the public throughout the battle and the way he's handled the battle. That's just how I view it. But this person views like, hey, bro, that's him being a stand-up guy. So I don't know. What do you guys make of these people? What do you make of the taste? I'm going to put their name below each clip. Point it out in the comment who you agree with, disagree with, who's way out of line, who's way left field, who kind of got a point.
But some of these people right here, they're true fans, but they'll never see through what everybody else see through. I used to be a huge Drake fan, like I said before. And once I saw the other side and what was going on, I kind of changed my perspective. And it wasn't because of what he was putting out. It was more because of once we went into hip hop and what hip hop really means, there was things that he didn't understand and he couldn't move in that space like he wanted to. Like some of the people on here, like Homeboy was talking about Drake giving money out. A lot of that stuff was funded by Stake. And to be real, we don't actually know if those receipts was even cash. We don't know. He just says it at the show, but we don't know if he actually followed through on that. We don't know. But I want to know your comments. How you feel about this whole situation? A lot of triggered Drake fans that's pissed off, and hey, it is what it is. I'm here for all the smoke. Want to help support the channel? Hit the Cash App, hit the like button, share it. If you're still here, definitely subscribe. PeePodCove, I see y'all on the next one.